I was thinking about this recently where people are like, don't care what people think. Like, you can't care what people think. And it's like, yeah, exactly. I roll because I'm like, it is so a part of our nature to care what people think and to be in a culture where we're so community focused.
Yeah.
We've grown up tribally. Like, it's just a part of who we are. So to say and to not care when it's part of our like survival strategy to see what could be seen as a threat and like, and it's just our neural pathways to look for the negative in things. But I think that that's what people don't really understand about the work that you do. It's like, it looks so beautiful and fun and like all of these things, which it is. But then there is that toll that it takes on you that can be really exhausting and really hard. So therapy has supported you. Like, what's been your like support for that?
Yeah, a lot of therapy. I love my therapist so much. I truly wouldn't be here without her in a lot of ways. She supports me and it's work. Like you actually have to work. I talk to my community a lot about like when I started making the shift, all pun intended, and I started doing the work. Like when you go from being a person who's just like living as a person, and that's not in judgment. It's just like a maturity thing. When I was like 27, 28, I was like, I don't feel good in myself. Like I'm comparing myself to everybody that I know. I feel miserable. I feel like empty. I don't have any purpose. Like I need to start doing the work. And that what that meant for me is like going to therapy more seriously and not just like venting about my day, but being like, these are the things that I want to change about myself. These are the things I want to work on, and journaling and reading the books and doing all that. So it's like, I had a running jump in that sense, but it's been therapy and continuing to do the work and being self-aware and being like, okay, like this is affecting me. Like I was saying about the negative comments. You have to train yourself. Your brain is a muscle as much as everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the neural pathways. The neural pathways are used to going down a certain track, which could be negativity, which could be like looking for something that's bad, confirming our belief that we are not worthy, that we are whatever the negative belief is. And it really is. That's what I like to visualize. It's like that there's this like well-trodden neural pathway that my brain is like, I love to go down this pathway that says you are a bad person, you are ugly, you are whatever the things are. And it's like, how can I switch the train track to go to another path of like just kind of seeing it as different. But I really love that perspective on therapy because I think that's so powerful, because there are moments in therapy where I'm like, this is a total vent session. Like we are gossiping fully and we are just like letting it rip. But there is something about actually utilizing that container and time for your growth and to actually make yourself better. Yeah. But it's not easy and it's uncomfortable.
Totally. By the way, the vent sessions are so important too. Yes. Everybody needs someone to talk to and just get that off their chest, whatever. But I also think I keep 2 lists in my phone. This is just like practical tips for therapy. One is like things of the week that I just need to like talk and get off my chest. And then one is like ongoing things I'm working on. And so if I have a week, because sometimes my followers will be like, oh, what do you do when you don't have anything to talk about that week? I'm like, that's when you go to the work. That's when you go back to the master list and you say, okay, like how is not reading the comments going? How is ego control going? How is negative self-talk going? And that's when you can do those upkeep. And then what I like to do is like apply those things to recent situations in my life. So I'll be like, okay, like I read this really nasty comment the other day. Like, how did I deal with it? What were the tools I used? And, you know, that kind of stuff.
And I think about the women or the people that want to do your job, like want to do what you do, create content, be a public figure, etc. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. So much of what you do, and in a sense what I do, is like the unseen things. It's like you actually going to therapy, doing the work to read the comments, or like having the business acumen. It's not just the content creation that makes you withstand as a business person or makes you all the money, because that could just fall away. What is like some advice you would give for someone? Maybe they don't want to do exactly what you do, but they're like, I want to be more authentic online. I want to just feel more like myself, but I'm scared.
I would say think about the content that you enjoy consuming. I always go back to that. And I just love when people are just ripping it in their kitchen. You know, they're like picking up their phone and they're like, and then this happened. And I love that. And I'm like, that gives me the courage to do it too. And I don't know. I feel lucky that I came into this job in the pandemic at a time when we were all very stripped raw. We were all kind of at our lowest. We were all frightened. We were all afraid. And so I did it without thinking. I was like, I genuinely, like, people laugh when I say this, but I genuinely thought we were all going to die. Like,
I was like starting to laugh when you were talking because you're like, I love that I came and we were all scared. We were all going to die. And I was like,
no, I have like the most insane anxiety. And like, I was convinced that like we were in like one of those,
I just was laughing at like the conspiracy theory vibe happening. Like, dude, everyone was unhinged.
Everyone was unhinged, myself included. I was so afraid. I was like, this is the end. Like, so afraid, like not leaving my apartment, whatever, like going stir crazy. And I lived alone and I was new to LA. And so I was just like, I literally didn't think. And then because that was my entryway into it and that's what resonated, I got positive feedback right away. So I had a leg up in that sense. It's just how I started and I don't know any other way.
Yeah.
So I would just say, make the content that you want to see. I really think that that's like such a simple thing, but I always think, what would I want? I remember before I did this job, like I would seek out podcasts where they would like list very specific products that they were using, or like I would watch it, you know, and I loved that. But that's just an example. But like I always get super specific. I'm like, use this, or like go to this restaurant, but you have to go at this time and get this exact order. That's what I like. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
And that's just a tip.
That's huge. I think it's like the most obvious things are sometimes what people overlook. Like, like they want it to be more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.